Hi, today we will be focusing on an important element of being a great scientist, and that is laboratory safety. Delving into the world of scientific experiments can be fun and filled with answers to some of life's toughest questions. However, laboratories can be a dangerous and even deadly place if not used properly. This video is aimed for grade 7 and 8 students, and by the end, you should be able to recognize the importance of proper laboratory attire, identify safety procedures in case of an emergency, understand the importance of proper management and disposal of chemicals. Always wear appropriate attire. When entering the lab, it is important to wear the appropriate attire. This reduces the risk of severe accidents occurring while carrying out experiments. Closed shoes should always be worn. Lab coats, goggles, and gloves should be clean and well fitted to reduce the risk of chemical burns and skin exposure to irritating substances. Manufacturers of chemical substances are required to clearly identify the risks involved when handling certain chemicals. Some may be highly flammable, dangerous to touch, and even explosive. There are warning symbols that every scientist should be able to identify before entering the lab. Although the surfaces in the lab may appear clean, they can harbor the residue of poisonous chemicals or harmful pathogens which could get someone sick upon ingestion and may even lead to death. Absolutely no food should be brought into the lab. There should be no chewing of gum or eating at any time to avoid contamination of food and the spread of disease. Never leave work unattended. When working in the lab, it is important to pay close attention to the guidelines given by your lab supervisor and seek clarification if you do not understand what you should be doing before you start an experiment. Always remain within your workstation, observing any abnormal reactions that may occur while carrying out an experiment. Never leave open flames as it may ignite nearby flammable materials. Certain experiments may require extreme temperature exposure to objects. Some surfaces may be very hot or cold. Where possible, allow hot objects to cool before proceeding with your experiment. Using the correct lab apparatus is important to avoid spillage, damage to tools, and self-injury. Familiarize yourself with the names of the apparatus found in the lab and seek clarification from your lab supervisor if there is something you are unfamiliar with before starting your experiment. Please be aware that not all chemicals should be washed down the drain or placed in garbage bins. It is important to know the correct disposal method of a substance to avoid contamination of surfaces, damage to the environment, and adverse chemical reactions which may lead to fires or explosions. Always wash your hands before and after working in the laboratory. Use soap and water to ensure that any residue of the substances you handled is washed away. In case of an emergency, it is important to know where the nearest fire extinguisher is located. All scientists should familiarize themselves with the steps for correct usage of the fire extinguisher, as well as the appropriate emergency numbers to call in case of a fire or explosion. Thank you for watching this video on our lab safety protocols. I hope you paid keen attention to the information shared. Please address all your questions to your laboratory supervisor and seek clarification if there is something you do not understand. Welcome to the wonderful world of science.